question.
Michael Dunn murder trial. The case continues to stir up strong emotions. Assistant professor of sociology at the University of North Florida, Dr. Jeffrey Ann Wilder, specializes in diversity, race relations, and gender issues. She says Michael Dunn has put the focus on race in this case, as illustrated in his letters to family members from jail. In those letters, he mentions that the jail is filled with blacks who all act like, quote, thugs.
He sees himself as defending a group of thugs, really, who don't have in his mind any type of citizenship or humanity or personhood, just people who are really menaces to society.
Now, you'll hear more from Dr. Wilder tonight at 11 as we take a look at race and the Michael Dunn trial. Heather Crawford is anchoring your coverage of the trial. She joins us now with our FCN legal experts. Heather.
Keitha, thanks so much. Each night here on First Coast News, we will have a team of analysts to break down the day's developments and to weigh in on the latest in the Michael Dunn murder trial. Tonight, I'm joined by attorney Richard Kurtz and A. Wellington Barlow. Gentlemen, thanks so much for coming in tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, so I've got to ask the big question first. Do you think, based on what you know, the facts of the case at this point, do you think that Michael Dunn will be acquitted? We'll start with you, Mr. Barlow.
That's a question that we never answer that way as lawyers. The bottom line is that he's going to get a fair trial, and whatever that jury determines, that's what's going to happen, and that's how it should be.
Sure. You never know what a jury will do. You never know what a jury will do. Based on what we hear, we only hear what is being released to the media and to the news outlets. So we don't know what's actually really going to come into trial. So it's way too early to say. I don't see an acquittal as much as I see the possibility as a hung jury in this case becoming an issue.
Okay, so what happened today, day one of jury selection, is out of a pool of 100 potential jurors, 36 were excused. And we found out today, the judge said that the jurors that are seated, 12 jurors, 4 alternates, will be sequestered. Walk us through what the potential jurors will go through and how hard it is to seat a jury that's going to be sequestered and in such a high-profile case.
Sure. And actually, I'll take that one first, because I've had juries that have been sequestered before, and they're not going to have anything. Basically, they're going to be put in a hotel room. The televisions are going to be taken out. The phones are going to be taken out. They're not going to have their personal phones with them. They're going to eat together every meal together. They're going to be doing everything together until this case is over with. So it's going to be, quite an imposition on them. So what they're doing today and tomorrow is figuring out who can do that, who can't do that, who's got other issues, child care issues, taking care of the elderly, medical issues, who can't be a part of that, and that's what they're doing now.
And I mean, in your opinion, do you think it's going to be hard to find an unbiased jury in a case that's so high profile?
It's always difficult to find, because we're born with biases. We just don't recognize them. Sure. And a good defense attorney, a good prosecutor will bring out biases that don't need to be involved in that case at all, and expose them, and if necessary, excuse a person for cause or parenterally challenge them to be off the jury, so that they shouldn't serve anyway.
Now, we've heard a lot of discussion about this case and the stand your ground law in Florida, but at this point, this is not a stand your ground case. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's really not a stand your ground case. I know that they articulated that and they tried to compare it to other cases, but this is purely not, legally speaking, a stand your ground case.
But it could become one.
Well, and I agree with Mr. Barlow here. Based on the facts that are being reported, there's absolutely not a stand your ground issue. It could come one at any time. They don't have to file the motion in advance. Sometimes people don't file the motion in advance because you don't want to play your cards, because you have to put your witness on the stand and everything the prosecution knows in advance. It could always become one. The defense could argue it at the end of the state's case. They could argue it in closing arguments with them, but it's not going to be a stand your ground. The only way it could possibly be a stand your ground is if Mr. Dunn testifies and he begins to suggest that there is a basis for it. But as we talk right now, it's not stand your ground.
And as we move through this trial, what do we need to look out for, and will Michael Dunn take the stand?
That's a great question. I think that he will take the stand, quite frankly. He almost has to take the stand.
And actually, we absolutely agree again. I think to get up with the self-defense or the stand your ground, he is going to have to take the witness stand to say, I thought I saw a gun, I was in fear of my life, that's why I did what I did. Nobody else is going to say that unless he says that.
Mr. Kurtz, Mr. Barlow, we thank you for coming in tonight, and we will hear from legal analyst Mark O'Mara coming up tonight on our 11 o'clock newscast. But day 2 of jury selection gets underway tomorrow morning. Now we'll turn